Okay. Okay, that's good. Yeah, warm or can say that cool welcome to session 2, the International Conference on Commerce, Management and Social Science Research. Undoubtedly, the objective of the conference is nothing but is to observe the current scenario towards the advancement of common citizens' life by improving the theory and practice of various disciplines of business management and economy. The aim of the conference is to provide an interaction stage for researchers, practitioners from academia and industries, and also I can say from the development field, to deal with the state of the art advancement in their respective field. In fact, this tends to be joint venture program institute. Management Institute, the Warsaw University of Life Science, Poland, Institute for Service Management, Germany, College of Social Sciences and Humanities, Bulgaria University, Ethiopia, Research Culture Society, India. I thank for giving this virtual platform by posting organization, what I already mentioned. In this line, I kindly request the chairpersons, Dr. Mr. Harvinder Soni, Professor, Texla in Business School, Jaipur, India. The two people from Poland, Dr. Agnieszka Warenskwa, I do not know I am correctly pronounced the name or not. Next, I can invite Dr. Katersania Lukasiewicz. These are all assistant professor from Management Institute at Warsaw University of Life Science, Warsaw, Poland. Okay, the last chairperson I can invite warmly, Dr. Puvi Darasri, Associate Professor, Faculty of Commerce, Parul Institute of Commerce, Parul University, Vadodara, India. Okay, these are the people chat this session and give their valuable feedbacks at the end of the session. Now I call upon the presenters. Okay. Presentation. Then okay, then the presenters will very sharp and what is that? Present your presentation. Then one by one, I call upon for presentation. The presenters I can say, I can call upon now. The first presenter is Divakara Nayak KS. He is going to present the topic on e-learning effectiveness in teacher education. Okay, then over to Dr. Divakara Nayak KS. Please come forward to make your presentation now. Okay, the time starts now.
Sultana, Research Scholar, Commerce and Business Management. Now I am presenting my research topic. Borrowers' perceptions towards my screen is visible, sir. My research topic: borrowers' perceptions towards home loan in Kalaburgi region of Karnataka, Sana Sultana, and a home loan is a long-term commitment for entire mass on this earth. Thus, some banks are financial institutions through which one can easily avail of home loans at a reasonable rate of interest. Housing is a basic human need. Yet lack of adequate housing is one of the biggest challenges facing emerging market today. Existing sectors in addition to helping to provide shelter is a visual of economic growth. Housing is a strong job creator. Studies show that for every human being, at least 3 jobs are created both directly through construction, real estate and finance, and indirectly through the manufacturing and services. My research problem is to study the borrower's perceptions towards home loan institution at the Kalburgi, Karnataka. It is my research problem. Yeah. My research objectives. The main objectives of this study to know the borrower's perceptions of home loans, and second, to study the satisfaction levels of borrowers of about home loans. To study the problem faced by the borrowers, in obtaining home loans. And whichever I'm using this analysis, statistical tools for analysis. Data has been presented with the help of table, bar graph, and line graph, etc. Population and sample collection. Population is these borrowers of home loans at primary level in housing finance institution at Kalburgi, Karnataka. The study has been conducted in North Karnataka region among both male and female, and the age group ranged between 30 to 75. Descriptive and exploratory study used 30 samples of the survey to judge the satisfaction levels of borrowers who took home loans. Is based on questionnaire. A summary of data analysis, whichever I am using the some types of questions. I conclude my all data analysis. First is gender. Most of the females are taking males are taking home loans, 90% of home loans, and cumulative percentage, 100%. From these tables, 90% of respondents are male, are only 10% respondents are females. For women, borrowers through various state governments. For availing this concession, a woman need to be the first applicant of the documents and should be the sole of joint owner of the house. She should be an independent earner. So these are the certain factors which can hinder the demand for a woman to take home loans. And second, age of the respondent. In this table, in this in this table, 43.3 of the respondents fall in the age of group of 50 to 60 years, 26.67 fall in the group of 40 to 50 years. 20% fall in the group of 30 to 40 years. 30 to 40 years, 6.7 percentage. 6.7 percentage fall in the group of 70 to 80 years, and 3.3% fall under the 70 to 80 years. The respondent is high among the senior citizens. Most of the people are taking the 50 to 60 years, or persons are taking home loans. Occupation of the respondent. In these tables, in these tables conclude that 33.3 are salaried person, 30% are professionals, 16.7% are self-employed, and 20% are other. The major of the respondent are from salaried people. As a salaried employee, are the least at least risk category of borrowers, and are preferred borrowers for most under lender. As a repayment of monthly installment can be set directly against the salary account. Most of the people who are taking the home loans is salaried person. Annual income of the respondent between 5 to 10 lakh, and amount of home loans less than 10 lakh, is a percentage of 53.3%, and cumulative percentage of 53.3. And 6 month rate of the interest of home loan, rate of the interest per annum 9% of SBI. Most of the people are taking home loans are SBI. 23.3% percentage, and 23.3 cumulative percentage. And 7, mode of the security given for home loans, and profession versus reasons for taking loans, sources of information about home loan, occupation versus the encountered problems while taking the loan, which thing attract you to most. These are my questionnaire based types of question. I have collected my questionnaire. And home loans institution, the analysis show that many borrowers prefer the State Bank of India, yani SBI, as compared to other, because it's provide home loans their borrowers at low interest rate starting from 8.5%. Moreover, they have a special interest rate for their women borrowers. The biggest advantages of taking up home loans from SBI is there is no prepayment penalty, which means that you can close the home loan account whenever you want. So most of the people are using SBI. And suggestions and finding: reduce service charges and avoid interest rate insurance. Some security reasons they are not entering to the customer borrowers. Customers reduce the procedure delay, reduce interest rate. Working progress should be improved, changed. The procedure should be simplified and the rate of interest should be low for women. The claim insurance money from banks amount not from customers' account. These are suggestions and findings. Some of the borrowers felt that the interest rates are some high. The analysis reveals the most of the respondents are male. The reasons for the low proportions of female is due to the lack of awareness among them. Some of the borrowers have no the good faith in private banks like Standard and Chad banks, ICICI Bank, etc. The income of borrowers plays significant control while deciding home loans from banks. Suggestions: low interest rate is women home loan borrowers. Most of the banks are concentrating more on salaried people because the repayment capacity of the repayment capacity of the salaried people is calculated very easily and there is a very less credit risk than any other advance. The bank should also concentrate on the other borrowers such as professionals, laborers, class, etc. Most of the borrowers willing that the bank should not charges any processing, administrative loan transfers, and prepayment penalty. If there is such a fee, it should be reduced to some extent before deducting the of charges and any monetary charges. Bank must consult with the borrowers. Borrowers are suggested to reduce the tenure period, which lead to an increase in EMI but decrease in interest rate and total payment. So one can reduce the burden of final payment by shortening the tenure. Limitation of this study is limited 30 sample size of borrowers, home loans, and awareness and trust issues among the borrowers was major limitation of the study. The study is limited only the North Karnataka region. And thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sena Sultana. The floor is open. Okay, any questions, clarification, or anything? Then okay, you have to add to this presentation. Please come forward.
Overall, I give clarification about topics.
Yes, Miss Sana. Yes, can you
Yes.
hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir, yes,
okay.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, please.
Okay. It was a nice presentation and good topic you have chosen. So I would like to know that for a particular location you have chosen, so why you have chosen this particular location of Karnataka for your research purpose? Is there any reason for this, or it is just that the data was available over there, so you
No, ma'am. Actually, I'm staying in Karnataka, so most of the borrowers are here. So that's why I chosen this topic.
okay,
Why I
because
can
okay, so reason is that you are staying in that particular region.
but my study is Hyderabad, Telangana. Now I've selected the Karnataka and then Kalburgi.
Okay, fine. Another thing I just wanted to know, like you said, most of the respondents who had opted for home loan are in the age group of 50 to 60, right? Is
Yes,
that
yes,
so?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So then, like, how do they repay? The installments must be very huge. So, because the tenure becomes short. So, how did you try to find out, like, what are the number of installments they are going to pay and what is the amount of installments?
Ma'am, I collect questionnaire data. So most of the respondents are giving that question 50 to 60 years because the time is retirement and some lots of issues. So I asked the personally. So she said, no, I am this age, I'm free, all responsibility is not here. So that's why.
So, like, approximately what is the number of installments which they have to pay, and how many installments? What is the amount of the installments? Was 10 up to 10 lakhs loan? I think you said there.
Yes. Below 10 lakh, up to 5 to 10 lakhs most of
Okay. So like roughly what they have to pay every month? How do they manage?
Yeah. Install EMI.
Yes. So what is the amount like? Did you try to find out? Because
It's depend on loan amount, ma'am.
yeah,
It's
so
if
definitely depends
we are
upon loan
taking
amount.
loan, if we are taking the 5 lakhs, so the different types of interest in penalty. So that's why if whichever is reasonable for us, we can use.
Okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
Yeah, thanks, ma'am. Then, okay, then I have a basic question for Sena. Your presentation clearly manifested most of the borrowers of the home loan depend on only the SBI, State Bank of India. What about other banks' role in the country?
Other banks is some banks are private, some banks are government. So the private, some private banks are not giving properly any clarifications. So that's why the government banks is trustable, and most of the people are giving SBI. I collected
Yeah,
30 questions.
yes, Sena. Then one bank, okay, by the government of India initiated, for HDFC. This bank exclusively giving the loan for homes.
Yes, yes, yes.
But okay, then what about their role is very smaller or what is that? What's your perception?
What's it?
What's your perception? Yeah.
Now, the healthcare utilization is not healthcare. We always perceive it as a sector, and it can also be regarded as a good. And that is where the economics comes from. And the healthcare is not different from other goods. It is insufficient and it requires proper and effective grossman.
Studies the role of Jammu and Kashmir Entrepreneurship Development Institute in providing training and development to entrepreneurs. Abstract. In this research paper, the researcher has made an attempt to critically analyze the function of Jammu and Kashmir Entrepreneurship Development Institute in providing effective training and development to the trainees. The researcher has also emphasized on the loopholes and given suggestions and recommendations to fulfill those gaps so that the trainees are able to start their new venture properly. The researcher has collected the data from primary and as well as secondary sources. In the primary data, the answers were attained by the providing structured questionnaires to the trainees. And in the secondary data, the data was attained from books, journals, magazines, various publications by experts and academicians, JKEDA website, and Wikipedia. Introduction. The word entrepreneur is extracted from a word entrepreneur, which means entrepreneurs. The term entrepreneur was applied to business by the French economist Cantillon in the 18th century to confirm a dealer who purchases the means of production and combine them into marketable products. Earlier economists and sociologists were of the opinion that entrepreneurs are born, not made. Jammu and Kashmir Entrepreneurship Development Institute, pioneering institute of entrepreneurship, is playing as major agent in providing a growing environment to foster the progress and development of the state. The reason d'etre of this institute is to support the government in making its using its policies for entrepreneurship development by helping the practicing and able entrepreneurs through a number of services like research, consultancy, information, training, and education. The institute offers an incentive platform to the exciting and potential entrepreneurs to share their experience for common good, discuss their problem, in return make profit, enable them to broadway their ventures towards profitability. Entrepreneurship is in the genes and born inside. Unless these characteristics are aroused, sharpened, and exposed to new facts, the talent will not act as a catalyst to form into economic progress and bring new shape to it. MC Sillen observed that desirable training could provide the important motivation and inputs for being successful entrepreneurs. Objectives of the study: to assess the efficiency of training and development facilities provided by JKEDA, to assess the loopholes in such facilities, to provide recommendation and suggestions to improve the scenario and make it more successful. This is a literature review. Management Training and Development, a critique. Premela Seth in 1918 has pointed that development of high quality managerial human resources in the country is considered important for coping with the dynamic changing industrial phenomena. This has led to increase in the number of training activities and institutions. The author suggested that it's alarming time that the training and development professionals closely monitor whether the enlargement is meeting the quality requirements of the dynamic environment. The author also feels that it's important that the training institutions recognize the intimate relation between transformation training, philosophy, principles, and practices for establishing rational goal-directed development policies, failing which they may lead to over zealous of training, pernicious preoccupation with routine patterns, and neglect of all our objectives. Moray and White in 1986, the responsibility for teaching entrepreneurship does not lay fully with the literate world. In fact, a public level, there is a need for making of an environment that will promote entrepreneurship on high levels. Methodology. Due to lack of the time, I may skip some slides. The collection of data is considered to be one of the most important aspects in the research methodology. Both primary and secondary data is used in study in order to meet the requirement of the study. To assess the answers from these people working who are getting a training in entrepreneurship, JKEDI Institute, we used 5-point Likert scale. And the results, it provided them new skills to handle the enterprise effectively. 76 of the respondents with the mean value of 137 said that they have gained a new skill which helped them to handle the enterprise effectively, followed by 24% with the mean value of 43 who agree to some extent that it provided them new skills. On the basis of this research, we concluded that majority of the trainees have learned new skills to handle their enterprise effectively. Number two, the atmosphere during the course enriched the learning process. About 64% of the trainees with the mean value of 115 say that the overall atmosphere during the course enhanced the learning in the training process, while as 34% of the trainees with the mean value of 161 agree to some extent about the atmosphere that enhanced their learning process, and followed by 2% of the trainees with the mean value of 4 who disagreed to some extent that the atmosphere enhanced the learning process. So we conclude that we strongly agree that general atmosphere being provided at the training venues enhances the learning process. Likewise, the sessions are sufficient. The sessions were found sufficient. The 66% of the trainees with the mean value of 118 strongly agree that the sessions are sufficient for training. 32% of the trainees with the mean value agreed to some extent, followed by 2% of the trainees with the mean value of 4 who disagreed to some extent with the statement that some same percentage of trainees with the mean value of 4 who strongly disagree that training sessions are sufficient for training. We concluded that trainees strongly agree with the sessions provided. The methods adopted by the trainers in imparting skills and knowledge were effective. 169 strongly agree that methods adopted by trainers in imparting the skill and knowledge were effective, followed by 6% of the trainees with the mean value of 11 agreed to some extent with the statement. So we concluded that maximum number of respondents strongly agree with the methods adopted by the trainees. Trainers were able to bridge my gaps and need in starting my new venture. 72% of the sample with the mean value of 129 strongly agree that the trainers helped to bridge the gap and needs in starting their new ventures. 26% with the mean value of 47 agreed to some extent, followed by 2% of the trainees with the mean value of 4 disagreed to some extent with the statement. So we concluded that respondents were bridging the gaps and needed in starting their ventures. Suggestions and recommendations. The practical training sessions should be improved as they are more effective and beneficial for the trainees. Human beings differ in capabilities. Some people are more intelligent, some are not. The time period of training programs must be increased so their knowledge is dispersed easily and effectively. Number 3, apart from head office, the training centers are located in the different areas of the valley. The infrastructure facilities at these places are not up to the mark. Hence, it's recommended that these centers must be developed with regard to infrastructure and other required things. Number 4, some trainees feel that the training provided by the JKEDI is not compiling with the new technology. Therefore, it's recommended that the technological updates must be taken into consideration by trainers while imparting training. Number 5, the overall training facilities must be improved to motivate more and more people to join such programs to get benefited. Trainers must be equipped.
Okay, thank you, Raja
I'm sorry,
Abdul.
sir, I've skipped this. It's not visible here. So number 7, individual capability of trainees should be evaluated before starting training sessions. It will help the trainers to devise proper training methods that are easily understood by trainees. Number 8, the organization must establish its training centers in new areas. Some of the trainees feel it's very hard to visit far away located training centers. Kashmir Valley concludes. Kashmir Valley is an industrially backward area. The unemployment of educated youth is on rise day by day. Encouragement of enterprise will help people to find new ways and means to earn their livelihood. Entrepreneur training is the one of the ways to encourage entrepreneurship. Therefore, it's of utmost importance that the training provided by the JKEDI must be encouraging and fruitful in the long run. The above suggestion and recommendation is our attempt to provide some ways and means to increase the provided by JKEDI. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Raja Abdul. Okay, any questions from the participants, please? Okay, then Raja, I have a basic question for you. Okay,
Yeah.
then you gave a lot of details and information about the Entrepreneurship Development Institute. Trainings and programs you're giving to the people and the society. Okay, my question is, how far this kind of the trainings reach the downtrodden or the poorest of the poor in Jammu and Kashmir?
So your question is the training imparted by the JKEDI, how it has reached into the downtrodden people, right, sir?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So the
This might-
JKEDI, there is a problem. So JKEDI has actually started with the initiative. They have taken the initiative. They have opted on many centers in far-flung area. But the thing is, they are not technologically equipped like they are
Okay.
having in the main institute. So they are taking the initiative, but it's very slow. It's very slow, sir. And the institution, which is the main, like we have two institutions here. One is in the Jammu and one is in the Srinagar. Srinagar, the main one, is fully equipped. It has the technology. Has everything. The experts come, they teach how to venture, how to go into the ventures. But the thing is, the downtrodden people who have got these centers, they are doing, but that's not to the limit they are doing. That's not equipped. Sir.
Okay, then from the part of chair, then anyone please come
sir,
forward.
I have a question for Raja.
Please, ma'am. Go ahead.
Yes,
Yeah.
Raja, I just wanted to know, like you said that the entrepreneurs, they have acquired some new skills. So what are those skills which they have acquired through these training programs? Number one, and number two, like what all kinds of training have been provided by this institute to the entrepreneurs?
Yeah, ma'am. When I visited the JKEDI, Jammu Kashmir Entrepreneurship Development Institute, I saw the people coming there who didn't know how to take a loan. They were not aware of how to take a loan, how to utilize it, how to start the startups. So I saw there the experts from IMM, Ahmedabad Institute of Management. They showed them how to start startup, how to do a venture, how to do this wine mergers. So I saw the new things coming up there.
Okay. So, like, what are the various types of training programs which they have launched?
training programs. Then they have launched skill development programs.
What skills?
They have
That
launched that like craft skilling,
okay, I want
craft
to know
skill
that.
program,
Yes.
craft skill program.
Okay.
They have launched. They are launched apiculture forms. How can you take a loan for apiculture? Yeah, man.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I think Madam is satisfied and happy with Raja's answer. Okay, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, can I? Okay, yeah. Okay, okay. Thanks a lot to Raja. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, now I call upon Mr. Karu Singh. Okay, he's going
all
to.
the participants, you can visit this website, ediindia.org, regarding this Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India. Candidate?
Hello.
Yes, sir. Please invite next candidate.
Yes, sir. Okay. Then, please, Garu Singh, please you come and present your paper on modern trends and ways to develop aerobic endurance for internal security personnel. Please over to Karu Singh. Please come forward to present your paper.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah.
Audible,
Please
sir?
present it. Yeah, share your screen. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah.
I think one screen was already sir presented over there, so I am unable to present.
Yes, you can present.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, one and all. My name is Gaurav Singh. I am research scholar in Rashtriya Raksha University. Basically, it is the Internal Security University in Gandhinagar, Gujarat. So my topic is modern trends and ways to develop the aerobic endurance for internal security. Just a second. Internal security personnel. So these are my background of the study. You know, the internal security officer and police personnel require the physical fitness ability to execute their job in the better way. Therefore, many physical ability are required to remain fit in order to sustain in the most difficult situation and circumstances. So I have collected many research articles and find out that the concept of aerobic endurance training has been a part since 19th century, where then the athlete used the different types of training surfaces to increase their aerobic endurance performance. There are the various types of training surfaces like sand surfaces, land surface, water surface, road surface, treadmill, etc. So in which the use of different types of training surface to improve the aerobic capacity for the internal security officer. So I have collected many reviews and gone through over there. Then I have found that the characteristics of physical fitness of police officer, which has been conducted by Marin E.F. David in 2019. So in this research article, I have found that the body composition, aerobic capacity, muscular strength, flexibility, agility, speed, and anaerobic endurance are the main component of physical fitness. So when we talk about the physical fitness aspects for the internal security aspirants of an internal security person, so we must focus on that particular motor ability. So there are many research study. I have gone through more than 50 research study, and mostly the parameters are same, like a body composition, aerobic capacity, muscular strength, muscular endurance, agility, and aerobic endurance. So the summary of the research study are the physical fitness of police officer is highly required. At the same time, they need the same amount of physical assessment, which should be conducted from time to time, and it is the essential part of his daily routine. Because without physical fitness, without the physical fitness development, they can't do anything. Because his job is very tedious, very monotonous. Every time they fight with the people, and they are doing their job in very tedious condition. So after reviewing the research article, the study related to this concept, and it is found that the aerobic endurance has been identified as one of the major fitness component of internal security person. in order to improve its part, and we need the significant proven that the test of training program to develop of aerobic endurance. So what is aerobic endurance? Aerobic endurance means to work under condition of fatigue for longer duration of time, to consume oxygen so that the we can delay the lactic acid concentration in our body. So the crucial of the testing, the impact, you all know that the concept of training surfaces in the late 19th century. The player have been tested in the various training surfaces. So I have gone through the various type of training, the literature of various type of training surfaces.
One more.
I have found, sir, any problem, sir?
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
So I have found the various type of training surfaces like sand training, land training, grass surfaces, and treadmill surfaces. So all the surfaces have the benefit to the internal security aspirants or internal security person, and every surfaces have their own quality. Like in sand surfaces, the persons improve the greater training adaptation, and it's help to prevent the injury, and it's help to increase the higher energy cost. Similarly, the one study likewise conducted in plyometric training on sand versus grass and muscular soreness and jumping and sprinting ability in the soccer player in 2008, where the 18 soccer player as a part of the training and 19 in the grass training and 19 player on the sand training, and where the researcher compare between both the group which surfaces are impactful to improve the plyometric ability of an individual, and where they have found that the speed ability of both the surfaces there is no relationship, means there is no relation on the sand or grass surfaces, and but in sand surfaces training reduce the muscle soreness. So afterwards, the treadmill training improved the fitness capacity of the chronic stroke patient, where the research at all in 2001, they have conducted the study in 38 subjects. Their age was less than 60 years, and he found that the improve of aerobic capacity, improve the VO2 max, lowering down the oxygen demands, improve the physiological fitness aspect, and similarly, other study has been conducted in 2012, and they found the similar types of impact on the chronic patient. So similarly, many more studies have been conducted, and the particular topic and all have concluded that the engaging multiple muscular group in one movement of exercise using your own body weight and stability, use free weight training is training the body to perform better movement that can improve the adopt in the real world, and it helps to improve the aerobic endurance and aerobic power, and also speed, vital capacity, and resting pulse rate. So keeping all the review in the mind, the aerobic endurance is the main component of internal security aspirants, where the energy supply tends to exist the lower peak power and thus can classify it as being the lower intensity. These activities require athlete or internal security aspirants to perform continuously at the low intensity for the prolonged period of time. So this is the conclusion of my study. The sand training is one of the best surface to develop the aerobic endurance, because you know the sand training can reduce the chances of injury and reduce the muscle soreness. Apart from the sand surface, treadmill is the another way to develop the aerobic endurance, and the combination of two surfaces can also be good method to develop the aerobic endurance. It is already known that the performing training in single surfaces for the prolonged period of time, it becomes monotonous or boring. So therefore, and we follow the principles of the trainings. The training should not be bore, it should be not tedium, it should not perform similar types of training. So therefore, we can use two surfaces at a once. So therefore, the combination of two surfaces can be much better to improve the aerobic endurance, such as sand surface combined with the land or with the tread. Thank you, sir. These are my references. Participant and sir, if you have any questions, then ask.
Okay, thank you very much, Karu Singh. Any clarification, any statement substitute to this concept, please come forward. Okay, I especially call upon the chairperson to share your views on this particular research paper. Please, sir. Anyone? Dr. Purvi Darasari, please, do you have any questions on this particular subject?
Health impact of COVID-19 on patients suffering from diabetes mellitus. As we all know that COVID has given us so many memories, as well as we are still combating with the situations, and my paper is to give you just a brief about how COVID has an impact on the diabetic patients. COVID-19 pandemic has been one of the worst catastrophes of the century and was declared by the World Health Organization as a global public health emergency. Severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2 showed an alarming rise with more than 4.5 lakh deaths globally. The chronic metabolic disorder diabetes mellitus is also a fast-growing global problem, assuming pandemic proportions with huge social, health, and economic consequences. Diabetes mellitus is characterized by abnormally high levels of sugar, that is glucose in the blood, and is accompanied by failure of the pancreas to produce sufficient insulin. It has seen that because of diabetes mellitus, the patients had suppressed innate immune functions, and in them, the risk of morbidity and mortality from COVID-19 was much higher than the normal population. It was also seen that the coronavirus infection was found to significantly affect the nutritional status and health profile of patients suffering from this chronic metabolic disorder. The objectives of the study, the present review study aimed to assess the increased susceptibility of diabetics to COVID-19 and to see the impact of coronavirus infection on the immunity, overall health, and nutritional status of diabetic patients, and the recommendations for nutritional support to patients of diabetes mellitus who suffered from coronavirus infection during the outbreak of this major pandemic. This is just to show the relationship of diabetes mellitus and COVID-19. Diabetes mellitus, a metabolic disorder of various etiologies. It has many causes, which is characterized by chronic hyperglycemia and disturbance in the insulin secretion or its activity, or both. There may be a disturbance in both the situation. It may neither be secreted, or there may be any disturbance. Type 1 diabetes mellitus is an insulin-dependent multifactorial autoimmune disease which results in degradation of the beta cells of islets of Langerhans, which causes impaired insulin production or secretion. Patients with diabetes mellitus require intensive treatment. A retrospective study in Wuhan, China revealed that of the 41 COVID-19 patients, 32% of them had underlying diseases, and among which 20% were diabetics. Therefore, these diabetic patients might be an increased risk of COVID-19 and have a poorer prognosis. Still, there is not enough data to show whether patients with diabetes are more likely to get infected with COVID-19 than the general people, but diabetic patients faces much worsened complications in due course. COVID infection also increases inflammation or internal swelling in diabetic patients. According to a research by American Diabetic Association, people with type 1 or gestational diabetes might be at a higher increased risk of severe illness from COVID-19. One of the study done stated that the pathogenic mechanisms such as impaired immunity, microadenopathy, and glycemic variability may explain the effect of diabetes on recovery of COVID-19 patients. The effect of glucocorticoids and catecholamines, invasion of the pancreatic islet cells, drugs used in the treatment of COVID-19, and the lockdown policy may impact negatively on glycemic control of diabetic patients. Impact of COVID-19 on the nutritional status of diabetic patients. Regulations imposed to curb the transmission of COVID-19 are likely to have an impact on daily routines, including exercise and eating habits. For people with diabetes mellitus, exercise is an integral part of the disease management. Patients may also experience increased mental stress caused by the unpredictability of the situation and a result of the social isolation. This may lead to excessive consumption of products rich in simple carbohydrates, which can alleviate stress and can disturb their glycemic control, which in turn can also give rise to other associated metabolic disorders like obesity and hypertension. Diabetes mellitus is one of the commonest non-communicable diseases associated with worsening clinical and nutritional status in COVID-19 patients. COVID-19 is a disease characterized by an inflammatory syndrome leading to reduced food intake and increased muscle catabolism. Therefore, the patients with COVID-19 are at high risk of malnutrition, which makes prevention of malnutrition and nutritional management key aspects of care of the diabetic patients. Dietary management is an integral part of diabetic care so as to maintain the normal blood glucose levels of the diabetic patients. Now, when we come to the dietary management of COVID-19 patients with diabetes mellitus, according to the literature reviewed, adequate amount intake of dietary protein, fiber, essential fatty acids, and some micronutrients, especially vitamin D, C, vitamin B12, folate, zinc, and selenium, have proved to have beneficial effects on the prevention and treatment of COVID-19 in diabetic patients through modulation and innate and adaptive immune responses for direct effects on virus enzymes or the rate of cell entrance. So the supplementation of these nutrients have proven useful in the treatment of COVID-19 patients. A diabetic patient's nutritional status and its supplementation with nutrients may help to alleviate the symptoms of COVID-19. It is well established that malnutrition increases the susceptibility to viral infections and disease progression, and thus dietary management becomes an integral part to stop and avoid the progression of the disease. It can be concluded from the findings that there is a great need to do further research with larger study samples to analyze and explore dietary habits and to develop public health policies to promote a healthy lifestyle in terms of diet and physical activity, especially after this strict period of lockdown, because diabetes mellitus is a major health problem on our health system. Understanding the dietary pattern and physical activity habits during the lockdown in this specific population will help the national health authorities shape their response to future pandemics or other unavoidable global disasters where lockdown measures would be encouraged. Thank you so much. I stop my presentation here.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Rushi. Okay, then also it is a wonderful presentation on health impact of COVID-19. It's relevance to the pandemic period. Okay, okay. Is there any important question? Is there? Please, you come forward with the question, because due to the time constraint, there are two more presenters of the.
This is impact on the economy. So in this international conference for 2 days.
Now you are in screen.
No, I am the screen.
Chance and Dr. Raja Babu presentation is about a global crisis, and in the global crisis scenario, what will be the solution? Solution lies in the hand of entrepreneurship, and entrepreneurship is promoted with the help of educational institutes. That's why my topic for concern is role of higher education institutes in nurturing entrepreneurship education in Horn of Africa. Most of the countries graduates facing a lack of unemployment problem. This situation has given rise to immediate need of entrepreneurship development. To encourage entrepreneurial participation by the students and to determine the driving force behind the decision, we need to identify their entrepreneurship intention. Entrepreneurship intention is necessary to comprehend the entrepreneurial process. Find the research gap, like Global Entrepreneurship Monitor Survey told about entrepreneurship intention are high among the sub-Saharan African countries, but especially in case of Ethiopia, low entrepreneurship intention is observed. Different studies conducted by recent researchers, they manifested that most of the entrepreneurial intention related studies are conducted out of particularly belong to Ethiopian context. That different studies conducted is Ethiopia is very low as compared to other of the countries and continent. That's why as a research team, we want to identify it is really matching or they are different. Intention determinants and how they impact on their entrepreneurial careers and how they affect their choice of different business opportunities. On the basis of different reviewed literatures, entrepreneurship intentions, we found 4 independent variables. Explored variables are innovativeness, proactiveness, risk-taking, and self-efficacy. According to that, we are making our chapter framework. Now, research design. For identify the impact of explained variable on explored variable, we are find study conducted in Blue Hora University. For collection of data, structural questionnaire is used. Target population is graduate student who are taking entrepreneurial courses. Random sampling technique from each data used with purposive sampling. Main formula used and we found that our respondent are 352. For data analysis, SPSS version 20 used. Descriptive and inferential statistics both are used. In reliability test, Cronenberg alpha value is 0.883, that is good and acceptable. Now, we found the second our objective. Study the correlation table. We found that risk-taking ability having the significant value less than 0.05. So significant relationship found between the variable and Pearsall correlation is 0.6. It means slightly good relationship found between risk-taking ability and entrepreneurship intention. Same like innovativeness, self-efficacy, proactiveness, all variables have significant and good relationship with the entrepreneurship intention. Regression analysis. When we go about regression analysis, here we see that R-square value is 0.713. It depicted that all the explored variable, independent variable, have the 71.3 relationship with the independent variable. This means our explored variable are highly significant and we find variable in a very good quantity. After that, ANOVA table also depicted that significant value is less than 0.05, model is fit, and regression coefficient, unstandardized beta table. Here, innovativeness show highest value with 0.357. It shows that innovativeness have the highest impact with the 35.7% value on entrepreneurship intention of the students. Second highest variable is proactiveness, and all variables are significant fit because their p-value is less than 0.05. When we check the hypothesis, in hypothetical testing, significance value of all the variables is less than 0.05. That's why for all our hypothesis, null hypothesis rejected and alternative hypothesis is accepted. So here we find the different finding. Based on the different value, we are found that all our explored variable are highly correlated and their impact is highly impacted on the entrepreneurship intention on the student. Findings. 1 unit change in risk-taking independent variable is the highest variable which affect the entrepreneurship intention. On the basis of this study, we suggest some recommendation. The finding reveal that entrepreneurship education not only influence the entrepreneurship intention, but also it interacts strongly with the both construct directly and indirectly. We also suggest that because student of Blue Horizon University have high entrepreneurship intention, and Blue Horizon University as a higher education institute successfully established to provide courses in entrepreneurship, and they are able to enhance innovativeness, proactiveness, skills of the Ethiopian student. So our results are contradictory with the review of literature, which shows that as a Ethiopia country, students and adult having low entrepreneurship intention. So our results are contradictory. So we suggest at curriculum level, even at school, we need to enhance the ability of the students. References are taken from recent study, most of studies during the COVID period, and APA style is referred. Thank you, all of you, on behalf of Blue Horizon University.
So I take this opportunity to present global financial crisis and its impact on world economy. So I feel very happy to present this topic before you in this 2 days session. Let me explain about global financial crisis and its impact of global economy, world economy. First, I want to explain about financial crisis. Financial crisis
Excuse me, sir.
is the broad term.
Can you please share your screen?
Financial instruments and assets decreases significantly its value. As a result, the business activities and financial institutions and bankers, the central banks, not in a position to meet their financial obligations. The causes of financial crisis: overvalued assets, systematic and regulatory failures, and a large number of customers at a time withdrawn their amount. So as a result, that financial crisis has to be arised. The stages of financial crisis, there are 3 stages. In the first stage, regulatory failures or system failures, launching of financial crisis. The next stage involves breakdown of the financial system with the financial institutions, business, and the consumers unable to meet financial obligations. As a result, it's moving towards a financial. In that final stage, assets decrease its value and the overall level of debt has been decreasing. The global financial crisis, there is a little bit of difference, a slight difference. Global financial crisis, extreme stress in global financial markets and banking system. The recovery from that crisis was also much slower than past recession. The same futures of global financial crisis, it includes stock market crashes, credit crunches, and financial bubbles bursting, sovereign default. All these causes arise in that global financial crisis. The main causes of global financial crisis, excessive risk taking due to, in order to get the favorable benefit, macroeconomic environment, increased borrowing, external borrowing has been increasing, regulatory failures and policy failures. All these causes arise in global financial crisis. And in this seminar, I'm going to present with the objective an overview of major financial crises in the last 100 years. So there are 9 crises. In 1932, Great Depression. In 1956, Suez crisis, Suez Canal crisis. 1982, international debt crisis. 1997, 2001, East Asian crisis. 92-97, Russian economic crisis. 1995, American debt crisis. Global economic recession, 2007 and 2009, and 2010, European economic crisis. Recently, we have seen COVID-19 crisis. So a brief explanation I want to give all this. So when we have seen a review of literature, so they have taken 1 or 2 crises only. Major crises are Great Depression 1932 and recession 2008. They have focused. But in my study, briefly, I want to explain. That is my objective. First, it was started in 1932, Great Depression, and this was arisen in USA. 1929, October 25th, New York Stock Exchange saw 13 million shares has collapsed. So due to system failures, this crisis was arisen in USA. Before that, 1920, 42% stock market value has increased during that period of time, 218% growth in the stock market. In 1920 to 1929, every year the stock market growth rate is 20% for the period of 7 years, 1920 to 29. So due to system failures and regulatory failures, it has moved towards depression, Great Depression 1932, we call as 1932. That Great Depression, 30 million were lost in a day. Most of the investors are wiping, and 20,000 of companies are shut down or bankruptcy, and most of the banks in America has failed. And apart from that, USA, other countries also has influenced. Then Austria, largest banks, and in 1932, Germany, and this also has affected in European countries. So most of the banks has failed during that period of time. In 1932, money supply in the United States fell by the depreciation of money supply 26%, and Germany by 27%, in United Kingdom and France by 18%. So to recover from that sessions, then US and Great Britain, they have taken some decision. Then they have started industrial policies for recovery from that recession. So during that period of time, in 1932, the election was conducted. That is a New Deal. Then Franklin Roosevelt has promised towards the public. So he has given some aids to unemployed and regulatory industries. They have given some tax holidays, legal protection for workers, and social security programs. All these offered to the public. As a result, from 1939 onwards, favorable ways, that is a recession, that is favorable from that recession in 1932. That is the first recession. Next, the Suez crisis. The Suez Canal crisis. This crisis has involved, there are 4 countries: Egypt, France, Israel, and United Kingdom. There are 4 countries, their financial resources has utilized. Maximum the financial resources has utilized for constructing that canal and projects. So these countries has faced financial crisis. That 4 countries has obtained financial resources from the IMF, International Monetary Fund. Shall I continue? Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
except the United Kingdom, the other countries like Israel, Egypt, and France, they have obtained financial resources from IMF during that period of time. Pound sterling with the years 2.880. $1 US is equal to then 2.80 pound. That is the crisis they have faced, that 4 countries during the period of 1956. The next crisis, international debt crisis, that the international debt crisis began in 1982-89. Especially this crisis was faced by, there are mainly two countries, Mexico and Poland. It has influenced to other countries, then Hungary, Romania, Yugoslavia, other countries also has, especially Mexico, then imported oil resources from engulfed 20 engulfed countries. Later, they are unable to meet debt obligation. Due to that, the crisis was arised. This is another one. And next, East Asian crisis 1997. This crisis faced by, there are four countries, East Asian crisis. One is Thailand. Yeah, one is Thailand, and the second one Japan, South Korea, and Indonesia. That four countries has faced the crisis because at a time this was the result of external deficit, inflated property, and the stock market value. Due to that, the crisis was faced that four countries. And after that, Asian financial crisis in 1997. This is over. And next one, Russian crisis. This was arised in 1990. So like this, due to time constraints, I want to conclude. Later we have a Russian crisis 92-97, Latin American debt crisis, Mexico 1995, global economic recession 2007-2009, European crisis. So majorly advanced countries, they have faced this type of this financial crisis, global financial crisis. Recently, we have seen that COVID-19 crisis. So especially in COVID-19 crisis, as per World Bank, next 2025, there was a crisis up to 2025, maybe after, beyond that also we'll face that crisis. During COVID-19, during that period of time, especially the stock market has collapsed. Then February and March, that fluctuations 18 times has fluctuated, and the stock market totally collapsed. And further years, the COVID-19 plus, and apart from that, one more oil crisis also has faced. About 20,000 of employees lost their job, especially in the US, and it is also has been influencing across the world. That is the COVID-19 crisis. So I may conclude that from 1932 to up to COVID-19 2020, it was started 2019. So many crises. It has been influencing towards the world economy. So it may be the cause of system failures, regulatory failures, and exports and imports. They are not in a position to have. They are not maintaining required cash balances, current account balances with the IMF. Due to that, these crises has been arising. So that I may conclude that multilateral policy has to be implemented. So that multilateral policy for a short period of time, they want to obtain financial resources from IMF. On the other hand, cooperation from neighbor countries. On that way, it is the possibility, sustainability, and we will get a recovery from that position. Thank you very much. Sorry for the disturbance.
Okay, thank you.
Understanding the health economics by studying the maternal health utilization in rural Vadodara. Now, we all know that maternal health is one of an important factor on which the whole country's development and health system depends upon. And as I've told that healthcare services is always
It's not coming.
Hello, my name is Katarzyna Łukasiewicz. Agnieszka we have prepared an article about the importance of trust in social media, a systematic literature review. We work in Warsaw University of Life Science in Management Institute. Trust is growing in importance nowadays. It is visible in many areas of life: sociology, economics, management, and psychology. Social media are an essential part of the life of modern generation and are also a very popular communication channel around the world. The aim of this study is to show the relationship of trust in various areas of social life in the context of contemporary life in the space of social media. The article presents a systematic review of the literature. It was conducted to analyze peer-review scientific journal on trust and social media using content analysis to elucidate the importance of trust in social media. In selected articles, a link was found between social media and trust. The method of the systematic literature review was used in the research. The research was carried out in the ProQuest database based on the following keywords: trust and social media. Peer review scientific journal were searched in the period from December 2018 to December 2020, narrowing the research down the topic of communication. It should be added that all articles were written in English. One of the criteria indicate was the presence of articles in the social science database. The last filtering element were the titles of publication referring to social media and society and communication research trends. Ultimately, a total of articles were a generation, 4 of which relate to the formulated research problems were qualified. The obtained results were sorted in terms of obtaining answers to the following question: do social media play a role in building trust among young people? Are social media a channel for transmitting fake news? Is trust the basis for interpersonal communication and indicator of a relationship? Do social media matter in specific life situation? Can we build trust based of information transmitted from the world of science via social media? Do social media facilitate the flow of information between people and political elites? Does trust in the government increase as a result?
Okay, the figure shows a simplified conceptual model resulting from the conducted analysis based on the method of systematic literature review. It consists of 4 interrelated elements: young users, disabled athletes, politicians, and the world of science, all of which are surrounded by 2 key elements, such as social media and trust. The creation of the model was the basis for the analysis, deliberations concerning the content of articles generated by the system under the method used. Okay, next slide. The study highlights the perception of fake news, the role of trust in social media among young people, the importance of information posted on Facebook or Instagram in various fields, including sports, politics, or the world of science. Young users, the need for support from education, awareness, and the role of the world of sciences. Disabled athletes, the role of science is helping to shape awareness and pointing out manipulations and fake news, thus striving for trust in social media. Politicians' assessment of leadership, competence of political candidates, scientific community, science as a collective wisdom. The figure presents a conceptual model containing 4 constructs: young users, disabled athletes, politicians, and the world of science. In each of them, the main needs related to the sense of trust in social media were distinguished. Among young users, attention was drawn to the need for support in the area of verification of the information contained in social media and the elimination of threats resulting from the dissemination of fake news. In the group of disabled athletes, the problem of shaping the image of an athlete with disability inadequate to the reality was identified, despite broad social changes taking places in the 21st century, the authors of the article point out the emergence of stereotypical models of a disabled athlete which are them difficult to change or eliminate. In this process, a huge role of sciences is seen, which consists in shaping awareness of the actual image of an athlete with a disability. People from the world of politics have long been in a precarious position in terms of public confidence. The authors of the article point to the possibilities offered by social media such as Facebook, Twitter, of Instagram to renew people's trust in politics through a possible revival of political communication through the above mentioned media. The politicians are gaining new ways of obtaining information about citizens' needs, which is necessary to make right political decisions. And inversely, citizens are given additional guidance to judge the credibility and professional skills of politicians based on attributes such as leadership, responsiveness, integrity, and competence. It may be helpful in this process to use the trust of the content recipients in the world of science, which was described by the author of the previously discussed article as collective wisdom. Science should be a kind of catalyst for trust in institutions that shape social policy. The institutional model created by all of them should be based on common assumptions about whom to trust, what to trust, and how to build trust. Summarizing trust is a complex concept relating to beliefs and expectations. It's used in many contexts and meanings. The universality of this concept means that the literature on summarizing trust is a complex concept relating the subject. There are many deliberations and analyses that indicate the relationship of the concept of trust with the reputation of the source and credibility. The authors of the article reached similar conclusions, emphasizing the huge role of science in the process of verifying information from various media, in particular from social media. And conclusions. The analysis of the content of individual articles has become the basis for the following conclusions. There is an explicit link between social media and trust. Young users treat social media as a platform for communication with their peers. Due to the constant presence in social media, young users can select information and pick up so selected fake news. The role of science in building trust in social media as a selector of information is emphasized. There is no relationship between education or work experience and trust in social media. There is a relationship between the world of politics and social media. It's based on the presentation of social expectations, which, if they are met, increase trust, if not, decreases. Trust, even if built over years, can be destroyed in a much shorter time. Its reconstruction is a long process and sometimes is impossible. Thank you for your attention, and I hope your trust.
You.
Thank you, Madam Dr. Harvinder Soni. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you all. Bye. Mm-hmm.